For years, I thought personal growth meant finding everything that was wrong with me and then fixing it. Better habits, better discipline, better boundaries, keener insights with a better mindset. I became really good at self-improvement, i.e. finding my flaws. The problem was, the harder I worked on me, the more stuck I seemed to become. Looking back now, I think I was trying to build my life on the wrong foundation. Hi, this is Elisa, and I'm the Rebel Crone, and around here we like to question everything. Today, I'd like to question one of the biggest assumptions in the entire self-help industry. I've read the books, I've taken the courses, learned the techniques, done the therapy, followed the gurus, explored this spirituality and that spirituality, and every single one made a similar promise. If I could just fix this one or two things, I'd finally arrive. Well, I did arrive somewhere. I became really good at finding my flaws, but strangely more disconnected from me. I eventually realized that I had become the spiritual equivalent of a professional tire kicker. You can become incredibly good at kicking and diagnosing tires, but you know what? Kicking tires is supposed to be one small part of a much bigger process. Eventually you want a car that can actually go somewhere and that's fun to drive. I think many of us have fallen into that trap, the professional tire kicker or the professional seeker. And you know what? After many years, I didn't want to be a seeker anymore. At some point, I decided to become a finder. The shift happened one day after I was going on and on about all the things I was discovering about myself that were wrong with me. The person I was talking to said something so simple that I almost dismissed it. They said, "Nature doesn't grow that way." I asked, "What do you mean?" When I got home, I walked outside into my garden and it all clicked. Imagine a gardener. She walks over to your beautiful rose bush, ignores every healthy branch, and spends the entire afternoon studying one dead twig. She analyzes it. She talks about it. She measures it. She feels sorry for it. She reads books about it, maybe even gives it some positive affirmations. But what does a good gardener do? A good gardener notices the dead branch, and then what? She prunes it. Then she pours her time and her water and her attention into the living parts of the plant. That, my friends, is where growth happens. Maybe one of the problems with the self-help industry is that it treats people like broken machines instead of living gardens. Mechanics fix broken things. Gardeners cultivate living things. Those are two completely different ways of looking at life. One begins with what's broken. The other begins with what is already alive. That doesn't mean gardeners ignore disease or weeds or dead branches. Of course they don't. They prune. But they never confuse pruning with growing. Pruning creates space, but growth comes from nourishing what's alive. Growth comes from directing life toward life. I think we've spent decades pouring our attention into inadequacies. And wherever attention goes, you know the rest, life flows. If all your attention is focused on everything that's wrong with you, guess what you're cultivating? But if your attention begins with what's already alive, life finally has something to build with. That isn't pretending weaknesses don't exist. It simply refuses to make them the foundation of your growth. So in closing tonight, I have a suggestion. Don't ask yourself, what's wrong with me? You've probably answered that question 1,000 times and have many lists. Instead, ask yourself this: what has always been alive in me? Not what someone praised, not what someone expected, not what earned approval. What has been true your whole life? Maybe you've always been curious, creative. Maybe you always have noticed beauty, have been compassionate, have loved animals. And maybe you've always asked deeper questions. Start there, build there, water those beautiful alive branches. You know what? Nature naturally knows how to grow. And give it a possibility that maybe you do too.